Welcome to MindFuel. We're here to ignite your curiosity and fuel your mind with knowledge. Our channel covers a wide range of topics, from history to the future. We believe that learning should be fun and accessible to everyone. 5 people who tried to rewrite history. Number 5. Battle of Agincourt. One of the most famous wars in the history of humanity is the 100 Years' War. It was fought between the English and the French in the 14th and 15th centuries. The most well-known and studied battle from this war is the Battle of Agincourt. The Battle of Agincourt, according to many historical reports, is considered to be one of the greatest military victories ever. That is because, again, reportedly there were 5 times as many French soldiers as English ones. Incredible, right? Almost unbelievable. In fact, it turns out that there were not 5 times as many French soldiers. It may have been about twice as many. Some scholars believe that the numbers were nearly equal. The Battle of Agincourt was one of Henry V's greatest victories as a king because of the reportedly uneven numbers. Shakespeare was even inspired by this battle, leading him to write Henry V. It makes you wonder whether Henry V would even be as well known as he is today without his attempt to rewrite history. Number 4. Lost cause of the Confedancy. Somehow, arguments about the United States Civil War persist. Many still believe that the war was not started over slavery but for another reason. Many American historians sympathetic to the Confederacy attempted to rewrite history. These historians claim that the Civil War was a war of northern aggression. They link the war to states' rights, argue that slaves were well treated, and include economic issues that were not fundamental at the start of the war. While sadly, this myth still prevails, most modern historians agree that the American Civil War had one root cause. The Confederate States wanted to own slaves, while the Union wanted to outlaw slavery. The lost cause of the Confederacy is an impressive and terrifying example of how false information can spread. The evidence. Many people still believe that the Civil War was not about slavery and the right to own slaves. Number 3. The Pink Swastika. In Nazi Germany, there were many persecuted peoples. This includes people of Jewish descent, homosexuals, Sinti, Black people, and more. For identification, Jewish people were forced to wear a Star of David, while homosexuals had to wear pink triangles. While this was generally accepted history for many years, 2 authors came along to challenge these ideas and rewrite history as they saw fit. Scott Lively and Kevin Abrams wrote the book The Pink Swastika to challenge what was previously known. The 2 authors indicated that the Nazi Party was not against homosexuals but, instead, against effeminate men. They went on to say that the Nazi Party actually started in gay bars, referencing symbolism throughout the party. To put it simply, Lively and Abrams had a plan with their book. They wanted to change how history was perceived so that gay people were not seen as victims of the Holocaust, but rather, they were in some way responsible. Fortunately, this book was not taken seriously by academics or really people of any background. Number 2. Tiananmen Square Massacre. Oddly, you have probably heard about the massacre in Tiananmen Square that happened in 1989. Tiananmen Square is in the capital city of Beijing, China. There were protests from workers and students for weeks against the country's political and economic systems. Protesters numbered around 100,000 people in Beijing alone. The Chinese workers and students eventually protested in Tiananmen Square. The government responded with the military, including tanks and live rounds. The military forced all the protesters into the square, killing them before running tanks over the wounded and dying protesters. The Chinese government regained control, and protesters who were not killed were forced to leave the country. This massacre ended in the deaths of many people, estimated to be anywhere from 8 to 10,000. The Chinese government does not acknowledge this, however. Their official death toll for the event is less than 300 people. For such a traumatic and bloody event, it is shocking that the Chinese government has had so much success in rewriting this history, at least for their citizens. Number 1. Holocaust Denial. Sadly, some people try to deny or rewrite the most tragic events in human history. Holocaust deniers have existed in one way or another ever since the Holocaust occurred. One of the most well-known is David Irving, the author of Hitler's War. In 2000, he sued Penguin Books and American scholar Deborah Lipstadt for libel after Lipstadt wrote that he was a denier and a pro-Nazi ideologue, a case he lost. He also served 3 years in prison in 2006 in Austria for denying the existence of gas chambers at Auschwitz. Fortunately, Irving is not taken seriously by real academics. As the judge in his Austrian trial said, for his own ideological reasons, persistently and deliberately misrepresented, he is anti-Semitic and racist, and that he is associated with right-wing extremists who promote neo-Nazism. Even with his prison time and legal defeats, Irving has maintained his stance in endless attempt to rewrite history. Unfortunately, despite incredible evidence, Holocaust deniers still exist and trying to convince the rest of the world that they are right. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new today. If you want to see more content like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. And while you're here, check out some of our other videos to keep the learning going. If you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, leave them in the comments below. We love hearing from our viewers and we always appreciate your feedback.